Good morning. Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well on this wonderful Friday afternoon. Welcome back to another edition of Loyalty Live. In this series, we talk to the leaders in customer, channel, and brand loyalty about the technology trends and, most importantly, the best practices that impacts a brand's ability to drive unique experiences, engagement, and, most importantly, customer loyalty. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Rick Boubelik. He is the Vice President of Loyalty at Epsilon. I've known Rick a number of years through a few different companies, very well respected in the industry. He is kind of one of the vanguard of the industry. So it's a privilege to speak with him today. How are you, Rick?
Doing very well. And yes, glad it's Friday. Thanks, Mark.
That's good. Rick actually was just talking just a little bit before this about how he's moved downtown and has a nice little eclectic community. So it's good to see that you sit in the background. So it's always great to see people's backgrounds and kind of what it's like to kind of work at home. So thanks again for taking the time. So can you tell us a little about yourself? Obviously, I know you back going a number of years, great history. Can you tell us a little about yourself, your role with Epsilon, and kind of what you do and how you do it?
Sure. Yeah. And yes, I'll claim I'm a 20+ year veteran in loyalty specifically. I've worked both on the client side and the agency side, started a few agencies. But got my start Northwest Airlines in the loyalty side. I used to do analytics for them to make sure the promotions worked, and they kind of liked me, so I liked them, and it was all analytical and data driven. So I jumped from the dark side of marketing to the blue sky of marketing and ran the frequent flyer program there for many years. But currently at Epsilon, my role is really enhancing the product vision. I work with clients and client teams to kind of maximize the value of our tech and trying to understand the market needs, the new technologies, the new data capabilities, and kind of seeing how applicable it is for our client base and kind of helping them, migrate how they go to market using our services and technology.
Excellent. Fun fact. One of the things we love to do is get a fun fact about you, about something you like. We've had people that were born within 1 week. They were on the the doorstep of a nursery. We've had people that are big gamers, people you would never believe were gamers, with some marathon runners. But what's a fun fact about you? We always like to learn a little bit more, something personal about the people we're speaking with.
Well, one, as I just told you, I became a grandfather, which I'm very proud of. But I think if you don't mind, I'll kind of keep it in the loyalty space because it kind of, affected my life a little later. But yeah, back in 1980, I believe I was an intern at National Car Rental and 80-81 time period. And I was brought into a meeting because I was working in financial analysis and doing some work on some of their data needs. And I got brought into a meeting that was a bunch of people, and there was these guys from American Airlines, and we had to sign this, NDA not to talk about it for forever or lose our jobs. But what I realized what they were talking about was the creation of the frequent flyer program and how they were looking at partnerships. So lo and behold, 10 years later, I'm actually in the loyalty. So it was a unique opportunity to see and be a part of that and hear as a young dumb kid in college, about how big market, big airlines and big companies work. And it was in the frequent flyer side. So it's kind of a fun and interesting meeting.
That's good. That's very interesting. The guys from American Airlines kind of giving you a visit, probably talking about what they were doing. That's interesting.
They wanted us as a partner, but I think they had other ideas on a bigger partner. But the funny thing was, National Car Rental was also looking at what they ultimately came to be the Emerald Club as their own loyalty program. And that's one of the things I was working on at the time. And it's interesting that time period was a, loyalty and getting customer information was kind of coming out all over.
Interesting. Was Hal in that meeting by chance?
Hal was, yes.
All right, perfect. Can you give us a brief overview of your company, what Epsilon does, how you do it, maybe some industries that you guys are proficient in kind of working in?
Yeah. Well, Epsilon's, been out there for over, 50 years, and we've always been kind of a leader in outcome-driven marketing. We're kind of focused on, building proof, not promises. And that's kind of where our Epsilon People Cloud marketing platform comes in, and just how we personalize the consumer journey and how its performance is, transparent. So our loyalty solution really combines, kind of the data and the strategy and technology to kind of help marketers, anticipate, activate, improve the performance. But it's really, how we're doing that. So we're many different divisions. We've got data divisions, we've got CRM divisions, but at the core of that is truly the customer, and how we create that value of that customer from the assets that we can bring. Whether it's more data that's we're turning into insights, our messaging email platform, our analytics team. So we can have all those assets available for us, but our focus, for our group is product strategy or product technology, loyalty strategy, loyalty analytics. And those are the keys that kind of drive a lot of our current business today. And we're full service, obviously, but we work in travel, big in banking, we're big in retail, entertainment, healthcare, automotive. I don't think there's anyone we're not working with in an industry type, and that's mostly domestically, but seeing a lot of growth internationally as well with our Boubelik acquisition.
Excellent. One of the big things we like to do is get an understanding from a connotative and denotative perspective what customer loyalty means to brands, to technology partners. What does customer loyalty mean to you? Obviously, being in the industry for a number of years and having a great deal of experience. And what does customer loyalty mean to you and to Epsilon?
Yeah, it's actually the evolution of loyalty has been great, because when I was first into it, it was all about the company. We were data hungry, and having people raise their hands to give us the data so we can track it and then market to them what we wanted to market to you for the customer base. That was the main focus. Now, flash forward the 20 years, is loyalty is really about creating those connections. So I think we've learned a lot more on how we can go better to market based on the customer point of view. We believe that every interaction is an opportunity to create a lasting connection. So that's how we manage it and position it with our clients. But loyalty is really also a value exchange between the brands and the customers. It has to be valuable for both ways. So you want to be engaging with them. So that's how we manage our clients, and we want to give them the reason to come back again and again and again. So a lot of that is how we position loyalty to our clients out there for their customers.
Excellent. Challenges. COVID obviously has kind of brought on, or maybe expedited some of the kind of the opportunities for brands. Lots of challenges. Kind of behaviors are changing. What do you see as kind of the biggest challenge in customer loyalty today?
Well, again, from a strategic point of view and working with clients, it's actually getting companies to see that loyalty is not a program. It's a strategy. It needs to be core in what you do. In working with the not just marketing people, but customer service people, finance people, those is critical for having them see that loyalty is a strategy and how it fits in with the rest of their customer engagement. So that's been, a challenge. There's some companies that obviously get that and do that very well. Sephora is a great example of, their loyalty program is the basis for how they engage and look at bringing their products to market, and they do a fabulous job at it. But loyalty doesn't really live on that island. It needs to be that cornerstone, really, of your culture as well. So a lot of times when we're working with marketing groups, we constantly ask, how's this going to be delivered to your employees? Your frontline staff is kind of that level of engagement out there. So that's kind of where we see actually the biggest opportunity in customer loyalty today is trying to get that culture understood and delivered. In retail, it's been hard because of turnover in employment rates. But some of that is getting that message out and kind of getting that culture understood. We've seen some great success in some of our clients that have actually done great messaging too in getting their employees engaged in what does the program mean for them. Not them, the company, but them, the employee. How it makes an additional conversation point, how it makes customers happier, get excited about the product. So I think some of that level of what we see in building that culture has been one of the biggest opportunities, other than getting better access to data.
That's okay. Can you name a brand or maybe two that you think do an exceptional job of creating customer loyalty and why? I know you just talked about Sephora a little bit. Are there some other brands that you think, maybe going back to your early days with Enterprise or others that, that are doing a real good job of driving loyalty, that's not programmatically based?
Yeah, I think Delta is a great example out there of moving from program to strategy and culture within there. The products that they bring, the focus that they bring on, the customer centricity that they bring has been outstanding. And how they've been able to manage during these tough times is a great proof point for that they've kept a lot of clients or members happy. They've done a great job in communication element. But the one I really like, it's a small company, and I'm not saying I'm a magician or card master, but there's a company called Theory 11. Their program, again, is at the heart of how they look at their strategy. It's a program. You can earn points, but how you earn points is really part of how it engages with the brand. It's very truly unique in how, guys can create magic tricks and upload them and they get rewarded, and that reward is sometimes just awareness out there, and they get credit for it. It goes viral, and it's a sharing. So it's about that community, but it's so focused on culture, and they give their rewards program a lot of credit for help building their product and increasing sales.
Interesting. What you kind of talked about some of the brands that you think they're doing a great job creating customer loyalty. Is there a brand that you're most loyal to? Is it Sephora? Is it Enterprise? What's a brand that you may be very loyal to?
Well, can't you tell from this beautiful face that it's obviously Sephora?
Sephora's good. We like Sephora.
And no, I mean, it's for me, it is more than just the loyalty program. So I love Best Buy because I understand what the value proposition is in my exchange. They know me. The communications I get in are spot on. The other critical ones that I think do an excellent job is, I told you about Delta. I think I'm loyal to them, and yes, they're part of Northwest, and I kind of don't have a choice, but I see them at the forefront. I see them be innovative. I like that they're customer centric. So those are probably the two big brands that I like out there. But Stitch Fix is one that, is on my mind more recently because dang, they're good at it. I mean, they know me. They're very good at customer service. They're very good at understanding me. And it feels like it is, a lot of what we talk about is one to you, is that they've gotten that message. It isn't one to one. It's actually one to you. And I'm interested because I think they get it right for me.
That's interesting. Okay. When you look at COVID and some of the impacts that we've seen, heard about, obviously, depending on the vertical, can be pretty significant. And what have you seen in regard to COVID, how it's impacting your brands, your clients in general? And are there a brand or two, potentially ones that you've helped kind of pivot, reinvent themselves, reposition themselves?
Yeah, I mean, some brands are seeing greater engagement, like CPGs and retailers, where others really haven't seen, they have seen a radical shift in their entire business. So Some of the ones that I can talk about, I love what Buffalo Wild Wings has done. They've made a significant pivot, basically because they got a double whammy. They had restaurant closures and, there's a sports shutdown. That was all about their culture. That's how they got people to come in, build that sports community and have that fun aspect of it. But they've done a great job very quickly in creating delivery alliances, constant and relevant updates. They double down on their sporting and gaming section. That's very engaging for their members. And they really want to they've really been focused on connecting with friends and eating while watching games at home. So they've done a good job in how they've communicated that, the fun stuff that they've done, the updates to the mobile app. But I think that the good part is one that they were very good about moving away from COVID, that messaging about COVID, that the safety, everything is safe and secure. And that was part of the initial conversation. But they have kind of moved away from that and started talking to me as, how to get back into my life, how to get back into sports and my friends and those fun Sundays and watching games and all the programs that they run and help play and sweepstakes. So I think they did a good job on that.
Excellent.
We've also recommended, adapt or fall behind, as a constant. So clients who see this as a core to loyalty adapt faster and better.
Okay, interesting. And the kind of the mindset thing you would probably believe, right, within the organization, the adaptation, also kind of that bigger focus on customer loyalty.
Correct. Yeah. And there's a lot of our clients that said, thank God we had a loyalty program, because that investment that people put in, and not only in points, but the personalization that they're getting from through the program. I think a lot of companies have seen that as a key attribute to helping them do the pivot, certainly in retail. That's why, even during the tough time, Gap expanded their program to include all their brands. They have the multi-brand program, and how they did that and creating that unique positioning, even during these tough retail times, the loyalty program was essential for that, and how they pivoted to that new message to get people to continue to shop, but shop in a different way, was very good to see.
Okay. COVID-19 obviously is impacting marketers' brand strategies. What are some of the things that your clients are asking of you that may have changed from last year at this time? What are they asking of you? What help do they need? What are they looking at uncertainty, and what are they looking for from you and your organization?
Lots of stuff. I mean, I think if you think it to the core, we had that adapter or not die, but fall behind. So we're moving away from set it and forget it. I mean, part of what we wanted to see is they're coming to us for, yes, they want better cost-effective value exchange in their opportunities. But they're also looking for us to get faster to the market in better messaging and better value exchanges. So what is working out there, and not waiting, weeks or months. They want that instantaneous understanding of what that is. So a lot of this real-time data that's out there, tying that into real-time machine learning and reaction from that is kind of what we've been presenting out to them. Now they're listening and wanting a lot of that. So that's kind of where it's starting on it. But there's also the elements of kind of that advice that they're kind of looking for, is that we truly believe in creating contactless loyalty. Contactless loyalty is really that act of creating long-lasting connections and keeping them coming back, but sometimes when that human is not involved anymore. So how do we create that message, that process for them, and that value exchange in that contactless world?
Excellent. So you talked about some of the things they're asking for. What's one piece or maybe two pieces of advice you would give to a brand to help drive customer experience, customer loyalty during COVID-19 and potentially afterward? Is it contactless? Is it the bigger picture approach?
Yeah, I think, we talk about contactless loyalty, and that's going to be a standard out there for in some form or practice out there. Adapt your loyalty program to that, as well as some of your strategies of going to market with your customers. So that's obviously one. The other aspect of the advice is you can't get enough data out there in there. It's not just about transactional data. We want to get an understanding of the sentiment of how people are feeling, because in these kinds of changes, we're changing constantly of how they can shop, whether we can go outside, whether we can interact, and whether we can go to this type of business. So some of that sentiment and trying to turn that sentiment into understanding their emotional state to shop, to buy, to even go out. So that data is not just on transactional anymore, that rational side of it. We want the data on the emotional side as well. So a lot of the efforts that, going through in the forward, looking at that is how's that emotional data point or multiple emotional data points don't come into play in the loyalty program.
Okay, excellent. When you look at kind of the competitive environment, kind of the potentially, we have a question called the CMO challenge question. So basically, if you could ask a question of a competitor, a brand, a customer, or a series of customers about customer loyalty, what would that question be?
I think it gets back to that inherent, is loyalty a strategy for you? And this is a problem that I addressed earlier on it. But the second part is who's all involved. And from that standpoint, when I talk to CMOs, it's like, this isn't a marketing action. This is a customer action. So this is your product development. This is how you are perceived in the market, your customer service. So who all is involved on this? Who's on board with this? And I think that element of when we look at, the CMOs and going to this, do they see this as a strategic asset for them to get into the marketplace? Is their culture ready for it? In my past, I would constantly hear, well, why do you want a loyalty program? And, common answers were like, well, my product is not that good. So I need to kind of, give them, points to kind of help them buy and motivate people to buy. Well, loyalty programs don't fix broken products. They don't fix bad customer service. So the elements of trying to get what the CMO sees these as the benefit of loyalty, it's not about points. It's not about just behavior change. It's about, connecting that brand, that conversation and trust and building respect.
Okay, great. So looking in the forward, maybe use that magician kind of website you talked about. Maybe you can flip some cards. Where do you think customer loyalty is going to be in 5 years from now? Customer experience, customer loyalty, how is it evolving, and where do you think it's going to be 5 years from now?
I won't know, because I'll probably be retired by then. No, I'm just kidding. I think, I don't know. It seems like everything's getting so real time right now. We've moved from, getting data and making responses to that from data, that was 30 to, 60 days old, to now, data that's making decisions that was, you just purchased something. So obviously in 5 years, that element of being predictive and being better at predictive will be there. I think that's where the industry needs to go if we're to keep up with the expectations of consumers these days. So yes, we've had that predictive model, the Amazon, well, other people who bought this also like this, those are so narrow in thinking of how that decision is made and predicted for you, that I think going in 5 years, you're going to see predictive models that are driven by the consumer himself, not just the data that's out there. will be the trends that we'll see and built in within the loyalty program.
Okay, great. So when you look at maybe a current trend, technology, or idea, what do you believe is most important right now for brands to focus on today?
Yeah, I think, utilization of emotional loyalty as a factor in the measurement influencing of a program is the basis of what's the current trend today. How that gets built into the technology is, I would say, happening out there. And I think that's going to key that I think consumers are going to love it and understand. And I think it's going to get them higher utilization of the program and higher acceptance of us collecting that type of data for them. Really it's already out there for us. We just need to do that. So again, that utilization of emotional loyalty as a factor and a measure within programs and strategies will be key. And I think it is, and again, how that's built in as a decision factor, even into the technology, the loyalty platform is going to be fun for us to see and get a lot of good results.
Okay. So kind of quick follow-up question to that. What are some of the challenges that you see around that? I mean, what kind of the biggest challenges you have in operationalizing some of those pieces you just talked about for programs? Say, is it technology? Is it API integration? Is it, what are, what's missing today?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily it's the technology. I think it's the methodology of how we measure emotional and how we capture that data, because we can go out and say, hey, here's 500 points, take this 3-minute survey, and we get attributes to that that can get an emotional scoring. But that's not everyone. We may only get to 10% response on that. And we need better data to get those emotional factors scored and understood. So it is thing about as you're buying, yes, there's the post. How did this make you feel? Was the process good? Was it easy for you? Did it enhance your life or the person you're buying it for its life? So a lot of that type of emotional scoring is the challenge will be, we have all these data points we want to collect. How do we get that? And we can do that and maybe get a measure on a program or maybe brand level. But how do we get that to a customer level? That's going to be meaningful for us, for our client and the customer itself. And, trying to get back to that one to you, how do we truly, get to that commitment that this is an emotional valuation and value exchange for that one to you?
Okay, great. And the last question I have, what can we as a trade association for the industry help others in regard to their customer loyalty and customer experience efforts?
Yeah, I think, you guys do a great job in, being that sounding board out there for multiple different brands. And I think getting that level of research with vertical details. So, a lot of the research we see out there is we don't know if they were, a frequent flyer, in retail, entertainment, convenience stores. So getting a level of research on that, that vertical level that talks about that customer sentiment, that customer value exchange, and the level of importance technology is to them. That's where I think you guys have a great assets to brands that, hey, let's go out and, build a customer profile and kind of measures these things that I think the industry would see as a great value add, that we could use consistently to kind of go back to our clients to say, this is how important loyalty is. And here's the research that, kind of proves that.
Interesting. Okay. So I was taking some notes. Thank you for that feedback. That was great to hear. And also thank you very much for sharing the unique insight you have with regard to kind of where things are today from a customer loyalty perspective, where things are going and, how brands should be looking at it. There's a lot of uncertainty, as you know, in the market today. And obviously working with individuals like yourself and a powerful brand like Epsilon is very advantageous for marketers because they need that sounding board. They need to know what's working, right? I think a lot of people in the industry right now want some guidance, and obviously, with your breadth of expertise and technology you guys have, you can definitely help facilitate a lot of that. So it's great to hear.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We'd love to help. That's what we're here for.